Hey everybody, it's me. I'm back. It's time for the Wacky Wiki Happy Hour. So, I've been gone for a while because I went through Irma, Hurricane Irma, the legendary hurricane. Our first hurricane, Steve and I's first hurricane, and it had to be the legendary hurricane. It was something alright, but you know where I was the day before the hurricane? Disney World. Yes, I was. Steve had to go to university for his orientation at Disney World on the day before the hurricane. So I dropped him off at university and went to Disney World. And here I am trotting around Disney World Magic Kingdom the day before the hurricane. I'll tell you what, it was the best day ever. Hardly anybody in the park except for those who got stuck here on at their resort hotels on the vacation. The locals besides me probably didn't think of going over there because they were too busy trying to get ready for a hurricane. Well, talking about getting ready for a hurricane, being at Disney World wasn't part of the plan, but that just goes to show what a Disney fanatic I am. But anyways, getting ready for a hurricane was something else, I'll tell you that. It was crazy trying to get ready for a hurricane. Here's my good friend Nyla. I thought I'd just hold her for a minute because she's so cute. Look at the camera, Nyla. Yeah, but anyways, people were animals down here trying to get ready for a hurricane because it was all about getting bottled water, canned food, and snack food that you could have in case the power went off. And people were just crazy. And it was like it was survival of the richest at that point, because if you had enough money to buy 10 cases of water, well then by God, you're going to fill up your basket and get 10 cases of water. Here, wait, Nyla's doing something funny. What you doing, Nyla? What are you doing? You showing off for the camera? You gonna show off? And Nyla, she got that big old Bed Bath & Beyond bag down there. She loves to play with her bag. What are you doing there? What are you doing there? Alright, well anyways, back to Hurricane Irma. So yeah. So if you didn't have enough money, you ain't going to get your bottled water. And Steve and I, like I said, we were ill prepared because this is our first hurricane ever. And we really didn't know what to be doing. And now I know next time when they say hurricane season's approaching, to get like 2 to 3 cases of water and just have them set aside somewhere so you're ready for the whole hurricane season. And if you don't have a hurricane, good. But if you are going to have a hurricane, at least you're prepared. And right now, I even though hurricane season's practically over, it gets over November 30th, I have, 8 cans of Chef Boyardee spaghetti and meatballs, and I have like 8 cans of Chef Boyardee ravioli up in the cupboard, along with some Vienna sausages, just in case we get a late season hurricane. Knock on wood, we don't, because Irma being my first hurricane was enough for me this season. And I really don't need to see any hurricanes again anytime soon. But boy, we went through it. Steve and I moved all of our stuff out of this front room. And if you've seen any of my earlier videos, you've seen the front room of our apartment. And we took it all to the back room of the apartment. And we had our 2 mattresses in there. And we had the cats all up in there. And we sat there and held hands on the mattresses, and we had my phone was able to keep powered up the whole time because we never lost power. And so we had Facebook on the phone, and we had Eric Burris from West 2 News down here talking us all the way through it. And my good friend Ann Kowalski, who's up in Michigan, was also online Facebook for the whole night. And we got through it with the help of Eric and Ann. And Steve and I, of course, kept each other sane. But, because it was crazy, I'm telling you what, it was crazy. This first hurricane was crazy. It came through here like a bat out of hell. And, you know, they didn't know where it was going at first. They thought it was going to stay on the East Coast and just, you know, ride up the Atlantic coast. And no one wants to have a hurricane, but this hurricane, no matter where it went, it was twice as wide as the state of Florida. And it was going to, everybody was going to get a piece of it no matter what. And then the hurricane didn't turn exactly when they thought it was going to turn. It took its sweet ass time and came a little bit across the Gulf of Mexico, across the top of Cuba, and then it turned. Well, by that time it was coming up the west coast of Florida, and they figured, okay, it's going to ride the west coast and then go out into the Gulf. That wasn't good enough for the hurricane. Hell no, you've already destructed, you know, wreaked havoc on Key West and now on Naples and Fort Myers and those areas. No, it made a turn and it came right up the middle, kind of diagonally of the whole state. Right over our neighborhood, yes it sure did. And when it was out there in the water, it was a Category 5 hurricane. And then when it hit land, I think when it hit Naples and Fort Myers area, it might have been a Category 4. But this hurricane was so big and so strong, even when it got all the way to Orlando, which is a 2-hour drive from, no, a 3-hour drive from Naples and Fort Myers to get to Orlando. And even when it got that far in land, it was a Category 2 hurricane still. A weak Category 2 to a strong Category 1. And let me tell you, it was loud, obnoxious, it shook the building, the windows rattled, the lights flickered on and off, and I even had to be like Jim Cantori. Wasn't a good idea, but I had to do it. It was my first hurricane, so I went out there in the balcony out front, and there's like a breezeway where the stairs come up, you know, from floor to floor of our building, and I had my back to the rain, and oh my God, the rain was pelting me in the back. It felt like little bees stinging me. It was awful. It was just nasty, and the wind was just, if you could have seen the palm trees bending over. Until this day, there's still like places around here that the limbs are down, and you know, people are still getting them together so that the city can come and wood chop them. They got companies that, you know, come through here with wood chopping trucks, and they're still haven't, you know, gotten to all of them. But I'll tell you, after the hurricane, that was even worse than before the hurricane. And Steve and I went out and we wanted to see some of the damages and whatnot. We even drove down to Disney World, and the Disney World looked pretty good. They had a few trees down, but there were a lot of places around here that were flooding, and the trees were down, power lines were down. You had to, you know, treat. No one knows how to treat a traffic light that's down like a four-way stop. That's apparent, because you wouldn't believe these idiots driving through traffic lights. And then, and you can't have a cop at every single down traffic light. There was so many down traffic lights, it was ridiculous. I'm thinking, all right, in the metro area of Orlando, there's like, I think they said 8 million people. Or that. But anyways, out of that, 5.6 million were without power. And it was just crazy. But then, like I'm saying, after a hurricane, you're trying to get back to normal. And the Walmart that we normally shop at, we went up there to get some food, and they lost everything. Which I don't quite understand why they don't have generators to keep their freezer section and their dairy section cold. But they lost all their meat, all their frozen food, all their dairy, nothing. We, you know, couldn't get any of that. So for a couple nights after the hurricane, we ended up doing what we could. We went to Popeye's Chicken, had their power, so we got chicken over there one night, and Burger King at in another town had power, so we had Burger King another night, and then gradually got back to getting some food from the grocery stores. But yeah, it was hard to get a lot of stuff in the beginning because everything's down, and it was hard for the supply trucks to get here, even to deliver to us. So it was an interesting thing going through a hurricane. Oh, and boy, I'll tell you, I was talking about sitting in the room and the windows shaking and it was loud, and it was like this. I should have mentioned this earlier, but it was like a jet engine on top of our building, and every time the wind gusted, it sounded just like, but a gazillion times louder. Yeah, that's my imitation of a jet engine. But yeah, it was something going through the hurricane. How many times can I say that in a row? Hey. Alright, but the hurricane's over. Steve and I are fine. Maybe I can get back to making some videos. I'm losing light here, and I guess I'm going to have to close up shop. So, once again, thanks for joining me for the Wacky Wiggy Happy Hour. Until next time, stay safe, bring your friends, and I'll see you soon.